my thoughts and in my dreams. They're always in my mind. These songs of hobbits, dwarves and men, and elves, come close your eyes. You can see them soon.
Alright, this is the tale of the toilet pizza. This is the story of probably the worst thing I've ever done to anybody. Probably ever. And I'm not too proud of this story, actually, but it is really funny in its own weird way. Okay, so when I say I worked at a game store, I worked in as much as I helped check people out occasionally on the rare occasion they had to make a purchase. Mainly what I did was I shilled cards to kids. I was basically a pusher, and I helped play and officiate like tournaments. So like when there was a Magic tournament, I would keep score, or if there was a Pokemon tournament, I would play the Pokemans. So you know, most of my job involved playing a basic Pokemon starter deck and essentially taking dives for all the little kids who were curious about playing the Pokemon and wanted to play. So if I let them win, they would buy more cards. At least that's what I tell people. No, I had a really shitty deck, so I was kind of meant to lose. But one of my few responsibilities while I was working there was mucking out the stall, as I put it. I had to clean the bathroom. So I don't know what it is about gamers, because honestly, almost all the gamers I've ever met are really very clean, fastidious, in some cases very anal retentive about keeping a neat home, keeping personally clean. You know, I know it's kind of a story where, like, and I've experienced this myself at a lot of conventions where people are kind of smelly, sweaty, and I really do wish people would, you know, apply extra deodorant or shower occasionally. But you know, almost all the role players and kind of Magic players I've experienced kept a pretty clean shop. You know, they didn't really make a mess at the store. They're nice people. They're very neat. But that bathroom, the shit that went on in that bathroom, my God, I have seen horrors beyond your imagining in that fucking bathroom. I don't know what it is about some people when they go to a public restroom that they lose all sense of human decency, or God, but I have cleaned shit spray off the walls. I've cleaned diarrhea off the ceiling. I don't even know how the fuck you get it up there. I've cleaned shit monkeys out of the urinal. That's fun, by the way. I cleaned out a chocolate dragon from the fucking urinal. You think that was a South Park episode that never happens? No, that shit happens. Some guy spread his fucking cheeks and laid out a mud monkey in that fucking urinal, and I had to fucking clean it up. Fucking savages. I've had a guy take a shit in the sink. It's like someone took a fucking diarrhea hose and just sprayed it around. I've had piss stains on the ceiling. We actually had to replace the drop ceiling because someone fucking pissed into the ceiling. I remember there was like a month where the urinal was out of order, and so Mike put a garbage bag over the urinal with a sign on it that said "out of order." Apparently someone took this to mean a challenge, or didn't believe that, like, what's he hiding in there? And so they actually tore the garbage bag off and used the urinal anyway, causing a flood of piss. What else did I clean up out of there? God damn. Standing pools of shit in the floor. Had to buy a replacement mop. Yeah, that was not a fun job. It was enough. It was enough. But anyway, so what would happen was, God damn, that brought back such horrible memories for me. But what would happen was there was the front of the store, and then there was the back of the store, the storeroom, and we would play Dungeons and Dragons in the back of the storeroom. And this was just about when 3rd edition was in full swing, so everyone was back there, and I was playing a guy named Smilin' Jack. You probably saw him in my Talk Like a Pirate Day videos, but Smiling Jack was a real character. And so his deal was that he was... I actually did not want to play a bard ever again, because I had my original bard was kind of like my big essay on the bard class. He was my AD&D character. I'd kind of played out the bard. But honestly, the guys requested that I play a bard because there was 5 of them, and they're like, the 3rd edition bard is big on buffs. We could use you. And I'm like, okay. I'll play a bard, but only if I play kind of a non-traditional bard. And so I started thinking, like, well, what could he do? What could be a bardish type class where he's like a leader, but he's not really a singer? And so I'm like, well, he could be a pirate captain, and maybe he could like have like a rowing song. He had a rowing song. That was his big chant. So when he did his bard song, he kind of did like a war song. He would kind of sing out and sing a pirate shanty or something like that. And so he was a captain of a ship. He'd be like, row faster, sing the rowing song. So Smiling Jack was a bard fighter, and he was going for the Dread Pirate class, prestige class, mainly because it sounded scary. So I was going for Dread Pirate, and so I was essentially playing Captain Jack Sparrow, but it was okay. They liked him, and I was playing a much more noble Captain Jack Sparrow, if such a thing can be believed. But he was essentially the guy who would talk his way out of anything. He had an absurdly high bluff skill, so he would just kind of bluster his way past people. And he was really good at gambling and stuff like that, so he was a pirate. So my pirate had just been held in the grip of a hold person spell, so he was going nowhere for a while, and so I was like, I'm gonna go take a shit. So the bathroom is right next to it's right next to the storeroom. So I go there and I take my shit. This is an essential part of the story, by the way, so shut up. So I'm taking my shit, and my foot bumps against something, and I'm like, what the fuck? Because I cleaned this bathroom, I know it intimately, or at least I thought I cleaned it I thought I cleaned it a lot, but, so my foot bumps against something. I'm like, what the fuck is that? So I look under there, and wedged behind the toilet is a pizza box. So I'm like, what's a pizza box doing under there? And so at this point in the story, this is the point in the horror movie where like everyone's going, don't pull the pizza box out, don't. And so I pull the pizza box out, and it's heavy, and I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck is this? And so this is the point in the horror movie where everyone's like, don't open the pizza box, you're not gonna like what you find. I open the pizza box, and I open it up, and there's a pizza in there. There's a whole pizza. And I close the box, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I look there's a sticker that they put on every pizza. This is from Peter Piper Pizza, by the way, that really shitty fucking pizza. I cannot tell you, I conveyed before how bad this pizza was. I feel like I didn't do a good enough job conveying to you how bad this fucking pizza was. This pizza, it was solid grease. We would have paper plates. We actually had styrofoam plates, but the grease on the fucking pizza would dissolve the styrofoam. And we ate it anyway. We actually, at one point, I remember somebody had 2 slices of pizza on this fucking plate. And they picked up the plate, and the styrofoam had dissolved to such a degree that he picked it up, and like just 2 pieces of styrofoam came off in his thumbs, and the plate stayed exactly where it was. So we actually had paper plates because those somehow held up a little better. They would become completely transparent at some point, but what would happen was we had these. Our gaming tables were white plastic, like picnic tables kind of thing. So they were like long white plastic tables. So I remember we were cleaning up the store, and we were shoving the pizza, the plates actually got stuck to the table. The grease had worked as an adhesive and stuck to the table. And so what had happened was we actually had to buy new tables at some point because the grease from the pizza had stained the tables yellow. And it wouldn't come up. We used bleach, we used like 409. This plastic had become yellow from the pizza grease. Jesus Christ. This fucking pizza was nasty. I guarantee you I probably gained 25 pounds working at that fucking store because I ate like crap. I ate nothing but fucking Peter Piper pizza and Taco Bell. And actually Taco Bell is probably the healthier end, undoubtedly the healthier end of that I ever got. But anyway, so this pizza was fucking bad. But, so going back to the toilet, I look at the sticker and they always put a sticker on the box just when you order a pizza. And so it's got like a barcode, it's got the price, and it's also got the date that the pizza was made. So I look at the date, and this pizza was made over a month ago. It was made like 5 weeks ago. It was last month. I don't know how, because I'd clean this bathroom quite often. I don't know how I missed it every time, but somehow this pizza had stayed wedged under the toilet for over a month. I mean, it was hidden back there. I mean, you would never think to look behind a toilet for a pizza, but there was one. There was a pizza there. So, I'm looking at this month-old pizza, and I almost drop it because I'm like, oh, and I'm like, oh shit, this is horrible. Like, and so, but I was like, but the pizza looked fine. It did. So I actually opened the box again, and I hold it away from me because I'm expecting like maybe I just didn't smell it, like but I don't want to smell it. So like, because I'm almost certain this thing is fucking rancid. So like, I open the box again. I'm like, I open the box again, and the pizza is, it looks like a pizza. It doesn't look like, you know, you open this thing up, and if I said like, imagine you left a pizza on a counter for a month, what would you think it looked like? And you'd be like, well, I'd imagine it would look horrible. I'd imagine it would look like green and black, covered with like fucking mold. Like the cheese would reek. Like it would be, you know, it'd be month-old fucking cheese. It would be covered in mold. It would stink. The meat would be like desiccated. There'd be fucking maggots. Like you could actually see like maggots or some kind of like bugs. You know, you could see bugs crawling in there, like smelling it and anything, like, you know, so like piles of mold, green, like the meat had turned black, like the olives maybe had like shriveled up or something like that, or bugs, or like I keep bringing back, I was really afraid of bugs. That's why I was like, oh shit, bugs. So I open this thing up and it looks fine. This pizza looked like not quite the way it would look if it had just come fresh out of the oven, but it looked good, or it looked like a Peter Piper pizza. It looked like you would get the pizza and you'd open it, you're like, oh, okay, that's fine. But if you looked at it closely, so I'm like, there's no bugs, okay. So I look in there, I open the box, it doesn't stink, but I look in the box and I look close. It looked like the pizza was made out of plastic. It looked like a fake pizza, like a really, really good fake pizza, like a prop pizza. Like if you made a pizza out of enamel, or and then finally what I decided it looked like was if you took a pizza and shellacked it, like if you put clear coat on it, like weather coating or shellac, if you shellacked a pizza, that's what it looked like, because it looked like a pizza, but it looked too shiny. So what I discovered, or at least what I hypothesized happened, is that this pizza, there was so much grease coating this pizza that it actually acted like a sanitary barrier. It acted like a like a plastic coating over the pizza that kept desiccants and air away from the pizza. It actually had eventually hardened into a protective shell around this pizza and kept it in perfect stasis. So this pizza was pristine, except for like the hardened layer of transparent, slightly tinged with yellow grease that had now crusted around this pizza and preserving it for all time. If I'd have come back 3,000 years in the future and opened this box, there would have been a perfectly preserved pizza. And archaeologists would have puzzled at this. Like, how could this be so perfectly preserved after 3 millennia? Like, there must be some secret to this, because it looked like I could eat it right now. And then I'm sitting on the shitter, holding a pizza, a month-old pizza. And then I wonder, like, who left a pizza here? Why would you leave a pizza here? So I start running through scenarios in my head. I'm like, under what circumstances, A, would you take a pizza into the bathroom? And A1, logically one must conclude that they took the pizza into the bathroom and on the toilet. 2, what happened that caused this person to not take the pizza out of the bathroom? One would assume that, having acquired a pizza, one would wish to consume the pizza. Okay? So, having taken the pizza into the toilet, why then would you... I could see not wanting to eat the pizza in the bathroom, but I could also not see wanting to take a pizza into the bathroom. So, like, why then would you... What circumstance prompted you to go, I need to put this pizza somewhere, but where? So, like, I can only assume that they wanted to hide their pizza, maybe to keep it for later. This was a problem, mind you. Like, working in the game store, this was a problem where somebody would order pizza, somebody would kind of go around the table saying, like, I'm ordering a pizza, does anybody want in? Meaning, does anybody want to chip in $5 for their share of a pizza? We actually kind of policed that rather strictly. You know, we kind of did, like, very quick and dirty math on this, so, like, you know, we'd split the pizza, everyone would kind of chip in $5-6, and then that would give you 2-3 slices of pizza. If you went over that, we would kind of be like, hey, let other people have, you know, everyone else paid for the pizza. Look, you had enough. So, like, we all kind of police this and be like, you know, everyone kind of gets their share of the pizza. So, but it was a problem where people who had not paid for the pizza would take the pizza. So, I actually started thinking, like, what if somebody bought a pizza? Like, and this would happen where, like, we'd be sitting around playing a board game, and we'd be playing long board games. And so, like, I imagine, like, we're playing Settlers or 1830. We used to play this game called 1830, which is a really long but very good train stock manipulation game. But we'd play all sorts of games. And so I can imagine there's, like, 6 of us sitting around a table. One guy orders a pizza. He pays for the whole pizza. And he's looking around, and he's like, I gotta use the bathroom. But if I get up, they'll take my pizza. And I'm like, I don't know how long I was on the toilet thinking of this scenario, but actually it was kind of a epiphany moment where I started, like, if I had ordered a pizza, why would I take it in the bathroom? And I'd be like, well, so nobody else would get my pizza. So I'm like, okay, well, I can see that sitting around a table, and I'm like, well, these guys will fucking steal a pizza I paid for, so I'm gonna take it with me. So I'm like, okay, so maybe this person was like, fuck these guys, they're not taking my pizza, take it in the bathroom. And then they're like, well, I don't... Stash it under the toilet? I would put it on the sink and then bring it out with me. So, like, I don't know, I really don't know why someone would stash it under the toilet. Especially considering that it was angled at one side and everything would slide off. And I don't know how this pizza maintained its structural integrity, but it did. But I'm like, I would never store a pizza that way. So then I start thinking, like, what if it was personal? Like, what if this was somebody else's pizza and the person gets up and wants to have a piece and they're like, no, you fuck off. You can't have my pizza. You didn't pay for it. And then they took revenge by somehow stealing the pizza and then hiding it where this person would never find it. Maybe? I kind of did, like, I was kind of doing like a mentalist type thing. I was kind of doing like a Sherlock Holmes. type thing. And I still have not found a plausible scenario for how this pizza got under the toilet and stayed there for a month, but it had. So like I said, this pizza looked perfect. It looked good enough to eat. And that's when I started having the evil thoughts. It does look good enough to eat, doesn't it? So, I'm thinking. And I get this little devil's over here, and I'm like, yeah, that'd be really funny. So I take the pizza out of the bathroom. Nobody questions this. Although nobody's really looking at me come out of the bathroom. So I take the pizza. I take the toilet pizza. And I open it up, and I put it on the table, on an empty table. I put it over there. So I open it up, I put it on the table, and I go back to the game. And so, eventually, we're sitting there and we're doing a fight, and I finally get out. And so during the course of the game, Big Mike gets up and he sees the pizza. And he goes, "Whose pizza is this?" And I'm sitting there going, and the guy, he goes, "Whose pizza is this?" And nobody's going, "I don't know." And so he looks at the pizza and he goes, "Well, does anyone care if I have a piece?" And I go, "It's fine with me, but I think it's been there a while." And he goes, "Ah, it's fine." So he reaches down and he picks up the pizza. He takes a piece of the pizza, and it this really should have cued him up. This should have clued him in. But he takes this pizza and he reaches his fingers under the pizza and he takes a slice, and almost like it's a saltine cracker, it pops like this perfectly triangular wedge of pizza, crack, and it pops up from the box. And so this pizza's it's like a Dorito. It's really fucking hard. It's like I said, it's almost like it's plastic, you know. So this fucking pizza, it just pops out under his grip. But he's not looking, because he's really enthralled with the game. Because when we're really deep into the game, we're shouting commands, we're giving advice, and he's reaching for his dice, and Ken calls over, and Ken's like, "Okay, Mike, it's your turn. What do you want to do?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna run over there and flank that guy." And he picks up the pizza and he's like, "I'm gonna do it. Hang on a second." He puts on the plate and he's rolling his dice. He goes, "18, I hit." And so he runs over to his chair. He puts the pizza down and he's rolling over there. And he rolls his dice. He's like, "Yes, I hit." And so he rolls his damage, and then the turn passes, and he picks up this pizza, picks it up, and he puts it in his mouth, and he sinks his teeth into this thing, and he puts the fucking, and then he bites, and like I said, like a tortilla chip, this piece of pizza pops, crack. It cracks off in his mouth like it was a saltine cracker. And he's like, and he knows immediately something's wrong, but he's already kind of started shuffling this piece of this just out of habit. He takes a bite and he uses his tongue to kind of flick it to the back of his mouth so he can start chewing it. So he's like, crack. And he knows something is wrong, because what I'm looking at, and I'm like, and so what happened is, what I noticed most of all was when he took the bite out of the pizza and it popped off, this little mote of dust, puffed up from the part where it cracked off, almost in that scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark where they reach in the Ark of the Covenant and dust, and they're like, ah! And so this thing dust spills out of the fucking, not a whole lot, but this audible little spill of dust falls out of the broken pizza. And so he didn't sit there chewing it, but he sunk his teeth into it, shifted it to the back of his mouth, and it was like a faucet. And he knew right away that this was wrong. He knew he had just put pure evil in his mouth, and he tries to spit it out, but it's too big a piece. So he starts to spit it out, and he's like, and like the piece gets wedged in his lips. So it's like this big triangular, sharp as fuck piece of pizza, and he's like, it's like caught against his teeth and his lower lip. He's like and so he fishes this fucking thing out, and he's like, and because I have no idea what the fuck it tasted like. I don't want to fucking know. And I had no poker face. I have a very bad poker face. So like, it didn't take him fucking long to realize who the fuck the Joker was, because I'm like, and he's like, no, I'll fucking kill you, and I'm like, and so like, he really should have known when he picked the piece of pizza. But honestly, that was like the worst thing I've ever done to somebody, because that was horrible. That was really bad. Honestly, I probably could have fucking killed that guy if he'd have swallowed it. Can you imagine what would have happened if he'd have swallowed? I was like, you probably should like rinse your mouth out completely, like right now, because I think that pizza's like a month and a half old. So, and he didn't get sick, he's fine. But yeah, I'm lucky. Honestly, I'm lucky, because that could have turned out to be really bad. But yeah, that's the tale of the toilet pizza. I have no explanation for this, and yeah, I'm a pretty big jerk, or at least I was back then. I've never done anything close to that evil ever again. That was, like I said, that was probably the most evil fucking thing I've ever done in my life, and I do regret it. I honestly do. It's a funny story, but only because nothing bad happened coming out of it. That could have been really tragic in hindsight. Yeah, I've never done anything like that of that sort ever again. But yeah, I do regret it, so I do apologize if you're watching. I apologize for making you eat the month and a half old pizza. I didn't make you do it, but you know, it's still pretty funny.